Chapter 2405, Critical Moment. Published by Divine.Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Godbrandy. Translation checker, Pew Pew Laser Gun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. 3 days later, Bing Yun regained consciousness. The first thing she did was to ask Fan Xin to call Yang Kai over. Yang Kai knocked on the door and entered the side room. Bing Yun sat cross-legged on the bed, her face still pale. She'd spent 3 days adjusting her breathing and treating her wounds, so her condition was much better than before, but she still needed some time to completely recover. Seeing Yang Kai, she smiled lightly and beckoned with her hand, "Come here." Yang Kai arrived beside the bed and asked with concern, "Senior, how do you feel?" "I'm fine, but I'll need some time to recover. This time, I must really thank you." If not for Yang Kai coming over at the right time, she would have become food for the fishes, which definitely wasn't how she wanted to die. A master like her would rather die at the hands of another master than becoming food for sea beasts. Yang Kai shook his head. Senior was able to come back safely by relying on her own strength. "I didn't do anything." After a short moment, he asked nervously, "Is Chi-Ri still alive?" Bing Yun said calmly, "He's dead." Despite already knowing that Chi-Ri wouldn't be in better shape than Bing Yun, Yang Kai still sighed in relief when he heard the news of the former's death. With Chi-Ri dead, no one could stop them from leaving the solitary void world. The only obstacle now were the dangers hidden in the sea. As long as they could get past these obstacles, they would reach the exit. "Those 100 revolutions Emperor Yuan pills you refined for me are the reason I won this fight." Bing Yun shot him a grateful look. "When Chi-Ri revealed his real strength, we were equally matched. If not for your pills, which allowed me to recover my energy, I wouldn't have been able to cut him down at the critical moment. Thank you." These words of gratitude came from the bottom of her heart. Yang Kai was surprised. He didn't expect that the 100 revolutions Emperor Yuan pills he refined would decide the outcome of the battle. Back then, he refined those pills just to be on the safe side. In hindsight, it was a really wise move. Without the pills, it wasn't guaranteed that Bing Yun could come back, and even if she did manage to kill Chi-Ri, she would likely have had to perish together with him. "For the next few days, I won't be able to use my strength as I want to avoid leaving hidden dangers in my body. You'll have to be a little more careful for the rest of the trip." "Unless there's really no alternative, I won't be taking action," Bing Yun said sternly. Yang Kai nodded. "Senior, you can treat your wounds with peace of mind. I'll make sure to bring everyone out safely." A smile appeared on Bing Yun's pale face. "You are really reliable. I'll be waiting for good news then." As Bing Yun had to treat her wounds still, Yang Kai didn't linger for long. After chatting for a while, he excused himself. 2 days later, magnificent waterspouts appeared on the sea's surface and Yang Kai summoned the Sea King shuttle, moving everyone into it. If they wanted to leave the solitary void-sealed world, the Sea King shuttle was the only way. Without it, they wouldn't be able to reach the exit. Yang Kai had already refined the Sea King shuttle, memorizing how to use its barriers and spirit arrays. Therefore, they had no problem navigating. Unlike the ship they were on before, the Sea King shuttle traveled underwater, which was also how it avoided the powerful waterspouts on the surface. Its speed wasn't slow, either. In fact, it was slightly faster than the sea ship Yang Kai used earlier. Sangda's nameless master was very attentive when refining this Sea King shuttle. He'd engraved countless useful spirit arrays on it, so even if they were below the sea, they could easily sail forward. The people in the shuttle could also see the beautiful scenery outside, but as there wasn't much light underwater, they couldn't see too far. The multicolored schools of fish and the big and small sea beasts shuttling back and forth amazed the people on board for the next few days. Although Ling Yin Chin and her crew would visit the sea all year round, it was their first time seeing the scenery underwater like this, so they were also looking with great interest. They encountered no turbulence along the way, and the sea beasts that came to cause trouble once in a while were repelled by the crystal cannon installed on the Sea King shuttle. The cannon's power was huge, but so was its consumption of energy. Firing one round consumed 10,000 mid-rank source crystals. Luckily, Yang Kai didn't lack source crystals, which allowed Zhao Yi, the one in charge of operating the cannon, to fire as much as he wanted. All the sea beasts that dared to approach were repelled, and those that were too weak were directly turned into minced meat. Not even their bones remained intact. Even the strong ones were forced to run with their tails between their legs. None of them was able to get close to the Sea King shuttle. Everyone was in high spirits since the trip was proceeding well. After navigating underwater for a month, no one knew how far they'd traveled. However, they had yet to reach the exit. The people on board couldn't help but feel a little anxious. One day, while revising the route, Yang Kai heard a crack. Startled, he released his divine sense to investigate. Ling Yin-chin's expression also changed as she asked in a hurry, "Senior brother Yang, did the Sea King shuttle just break? Why did I hear that sound?" Yang Kai's face darkened. "There's a crack in the hull." Ling Yin-chin was startled. "What do we do now? If the Sea King shuttle collapses, we'll have nowhere to escape." They were deep in the sea, and if the Sea King shuttle broke, they could forget about reaching the surface. Even if they did manage to reach the surface, the countless powerful waterspouts would rip them apart, turning this place into their graves. Even a third-order Emperor Realm Master couldn't get past this barrier, let alone mere Dao Source Realm cultivators like them. "Don't worry, the shuttle can still hold on for a while longer," Yang Kai comforted Ling Yin-chin, but deep down, he didn't feel so confident. He hadn't built this Sea King shuttle, so he wasn't sure how long it could last. "How far are we from the exit?" Ling Yin-chin asked. "I'm not sure, but we should be close." Yang Kai pointed at the projections formed by the spirit arrays in the cabin and said, "The number of sea beasts started to decrease yesterday, and in the last 2 hours, I didn't see a single one. In addition, the pressure around us is getting stronger and stronger. There's an abnormal current that is converging somewhere, so as long as we follow that current, we should reach the exit." Ling Yin-chin looked at him. "How confident are you?" "Around 70%, Yang Kai said solemnly. Ling Yin-chin gently nodded, no longer asking any questions. She knew that it was pointless to continue with this discussion. The only thing they could do now was to pray that the Sea King shuttle wouldn't break until they'd reached the exit. After listening to their conversation, the others also realized the gravity of the situation. The atmosphere in the shuttle changed, and everyone became anxious as they started to pray in their hearts. Yang Kai operated the Sea King shuttle and made it change direction to follow the current. Half a day later, another crackle echoed somewhere in the shuttle, causing everyone to become even more uneasy. As the Sea King shuttle moved forward, the water current around them became more and more violent while the outside pressure increased as well, causing the ship to creak non-stop. Yang Kai's mind was connected to the Sea King shuttle, so he knew that the vehicle was suffering more and more damage and it would last half a day at most before getting destroyed. He cursed Sangda's master in his heart. That old bastard didn't put in enough effort when refining this ship, producing a defective product that might just doom them. However, there was no turning back now, so Yang Kai could only concentrate and make the Sea King shuttle advance at full speed. Almost half a day later, Yang Kai was closely watching the water flow around them when he suddenly shook. Staring at the projection created by an outside observation spirit array, he exclaimed, "We've arrived." Hearing his words, everyone followed his eyes and looked at the projection. There, in the depths of the sea, they saw a giant vortex spinning rapidly. The vortex seemed capable of devouring the heavens and earth, and just looking at it was enough to make them feel as if they were suffocating. If they really rushed into this vortex, perhaps not even their bones would be left intact. "Senior brother Yang, is that really the exit?" Ling Yin-chin's pretty face paled as she gulped. Yang Kai didn't reply but turned to look at Bing Yun, who had come here after hearing the news. Bing Yun nodded. "That's the exit. As long as we can enter, we can leave the solitary void-sealed world." Seeing her brimming with confidence, all the onlookers were freed from their worries. Even if they didn't know where she'd gotten this information, she was a third-order Emperor Realm Master, and it was unlikely that she would deceive them. "I can feel space principle fluctuations coming from within that vortex," Yang Kai added. As he was proficient in the Tao of space, he was much more sensitive to space principles than other people. The insides of this huge vortex seemed to be connected to another space, which made it impossible for his divine sense to investigate what lay on the other side. "We'll soon reach the location on the other side. We might appear anywhere in the star boundary, even somewhere dangerous, so it's best to be extra cautious," Bing Yun urged. "Understood," Lu Xianyun and the others nodded. "Catcher." At that time, a sharp noise echoed all around them. Hearing the noise, everyone on board paled. Yang Kai called out in alarm, "This is bad. The Sea King shuttle is collapsing." At the same time, he tried his best to control the shuttle and have it plunge into the vortex. As soon as they got close to it though, the Sea King shuttle started spinning wildly. This artifact that Sangda's master had spent his whole life refining was quickly smashed to pieces, and the mental connection between Yang Kai and the shuttle vanished. Screams echoed as Fan Xin and the others were scared out of their wits, frightened that they would fail and die after coming so close to succeeding. At the critical moment, powerful waves of energy spread all around them, turning into an invisible barrier that protected him from the rampaging water current. Yang Kai turned his head to see a serious-looking Bing Yun. The Emperor Qi in her tender body was flowing out rapidly, protecting everyone as she carried him toward the center of the vortex.